This is the story of a low-budget Nickelodeon sitcom that accidentally created one of the most terrifying villains in children's television history. A character so disturbing that it traumatized an entire generation of kids, and the actor who brought him to life called it one of the most horrifying monster designs ever put on screen. Zeke the Plumber appeared in exactly one episode. Salute Your Shorts premiered on Nickelodeon on July 4th, 1991. The premise was simple. A group of teenage campers navigated life at the fictional Camp Anawanna, dealing with pranks, crushes, rivalries, and a hapless counselor named Kevin Ugg Lee. It was funny, it was lighthearted, and on a shoestring budget of just $180,000 per episode, it became the second highest rated cable television series among kids aged 6 to 11. Nobody expected what came in episode 2. The episode is called The Ghost Story, and it starts innocently enough. The campers are sitting around a fire. Bobby Budnick, played by Danny Cooksey, who you might recognize as John Connor's friend from Terminator 2, decides to tell a campfire tale. The story he spins is about a man named Zeke. Here is the backstory. Zeke worked as a plumber at Camp Anawanna, cleaning the toilets. While serving in the Philippines, a parrot bit off his nose. Because he could no longer smell, he could not detect a gas leak one day while digging a hole at camp. He struck a pipe, he lit a match, and the explosion killed him instantly. The only thing left behind was his toilet plunger, which now carried a curse. Anyone who touched it would be haunted by Zeke in their dreams. On paper, that sounds absurd. A noseless plumber ghost with a cursed toilet plunger. It sounds like it should be hilarious. And parts of the episode genuinely are funny. ZZ Ziff even asks, "What is this guy, the Freddy Krueger of custodians?" But that Freddy Krueger comparison was not just a throwaway joke, it was a design philosophy. Like Freddy, Zeke died in an explosion. Like Freddy, he is covered head to toe in disfiguring burn scars. But what makes Zeke arguably more unsettling than Freddy, especially for the children watching, is how the show chose to present those injuries. Zeke covers his entire face with a stiff human mask stretched over the burned skin, a rigid, lifeless facade with a wig on top. His eyes disappear somewhere behind it. When he speaks, the words come out in hushed, muffled tones through that unmoving face. It's deeply, profoundly unsettling, and it landed on a children's comedy with zero warning. That's the detail people always forget. Nickelodeon had Are You Afraid of the Dark, which had just wrapped its first season around the same time. But with that show, you knew what you were signing up for. You could brace yourself. Salute Your Shorts was a sitcom about summer camp. Kids tuned in for jokes about bug juice and camp rivalries. And then suddenly, Zeke is standing over a camper's bed whispering, "Come on, let's see what else you have inside your head." The episode cleverly uses the campfire story as a framing device. After Budnick tells the tale, the campers start touching the plunger, and one by one, Zeke invades their dreams. Michael and Telly both suffer nightmares, and what's particularly smart about the writing is how the show handles the shared hallucination. Sponge, the camp intellectual, explains that because Budnick painted such a vivid mental image with his story, all the campers dreamed of the same figure. It's a surprisingly sophisticated bit of psychological reasoning for a kids' show. And then comes the twist. In true Scooby-Doo fashion, it is revealed that Zeke the Plumber is not real. It is actually Ugg, the camp counselor, in costume getting revenge on Budnick, which means Kirk Bailey, the actor who played the lovable, bumbling Ugg, also played the monster that would haunt children's nightmares for decades. Bailey called it his favorite episode, and it is easy to see why. The man had genuine range. Creator Steve Slavkin described him as having a rubber face, kind of a young Don Knotts, and said there was not a single thing he could not do. But here is what makes this story more than nostalgic trivia. The cultural impact of this single episode was wildly disproportionate to the show's brief run. Salute Your Shorts lasted only 2 seasons, 26 episodes total, and its cancellation had nothing to do with ratings. The show still pulled incredible numbers. Even in reruns 4 years after it ended, it ranked among the 15 highest-rated basic cable series of 1996. The real reason it died was logistics and money. Nickelodeon, under pressure from parent company Viacom to slash budgets so MTV could fund its own productions, wanted the show relocated from Los Angeles to Nickelodeon Studios in Orlando. They also wanted it filmed in front of a live studio audience. But most of the young cast had just finished school and had built lives in Los Angeles. They refused to move. The creator and the network could not align on the show's future. And just like that, Camp Anawanna closed its gates. Plans for a third season existed. A new character, Dr. Khan's niece Ellen, was set to be introduced. None of it materialized. Today, much of the show survives as something close to lost media. Paramount Plus has added episodes to their catalog, but only 6 from each season, despite the original 13 per season. Cast member Tim Eister even explored a DVD release, but music licensing and royalty costs made it financially impossible. What does survive, though, and what endures in the memory of anyone who was between 6 and 11 in the early 90s, is Zeke, that frozen mask, that whispered voice, that plunger. The cast has reunited several times over the years. In September 2012, they gathered at Kamikaze Expo in Los Angeles. In May 2015, they celebrated the show's 25th anniversary at the Everything Is Festival in Portland. In 2018, Danny Cooksey, Michael Bauer, Steve Slavkin, and Venus DeMilo Thomas appeared in the documentary The Orange Years, a film about the golden age of Nickelodeon, and a retrospective documentary called Forever Anawanna is currently in production, featuring new interviews with the original cast and crew. These reunions now carry a weight they did not before. On February 28, 2022, Kirk Bailey passed away at the age of 59. He had been diagnosed with lung cancer in August of 2021 and kept working on voice acting projects for as long as he was physically able. His final credits were Paws of Fury, The Legend of Hank, and DC League of Super Pets, both dedicated to his memory. A celebration of his life was held in Pasadena, California that May. Bailey was Ugg. He was also Zeke. He was the person who made you laugh and the person who made you afraid to sleep. And the fact that it was the same actor behind both, the warm counselor and the faceless horror, might be the most fitting legacy a children's television actor could ever claim. One last thing. If you go back and watch any episode of Salute Your Shorts, look carefully in the background. Hidden somewhere in every single episode is a rubber chicken with a cigarette in its mouth. Because even when they were scaring you half to death, the people behind Camp Anawanna never forgot they were making a comedy. The episode is still on Paramount Plus and Amazon if you are feeling brave. Just maybe do not watch it right before bed.